which began in December 2024 and runs until January 2026, is a time of hope, renewal, and liberation. In this spirit, faith leaders from across South Africa have united to call on world leaders to cancel unjust and unpayable debts that trap poor countries in poverty. Representatives of the Southern African Catholic Bishops' Conference, SACBC, the South African Council of Churches, the Lutheran Communion of Southern Africa, FOCCISA, and the United Ulama Council of South Africa handed a petition to the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola. Their message was clear: debt relief is a moral imperative.
Thank you very much. We have just received the report of Jubilee from all faith-based organizations in South Africa, and also with their international partners, inputting into South Africa's G20 presidency, supporting the theme of the South Africa's G20 presidency, including its ambitions and the impact that it must have on the global south, in particular on what they have called majority of countries, which are third world countries, including the African continent countries in terms of development, industrialization, the use of critical minerals for the benefit of industrialization in the continent or at source, including issues of the transformation of the global financial architecture to respond to the crisis and the challenges of many countries which are debt affected, in terms of using the financing more for development than to service debt relief, and a number of issues that they want to see finding expression in South Africa's G20 presidency. We have now received the report, and we will process it through as part of South Africa's G20 presidency negotiations and the drafting of the final declaration for the Leaders Summit in Johannesburg in November. Thank you very much.
According to global data, many developing nations spend more on debt repayments than on education or health care. The Jubilee tradition calls for justice, restoring balance, and giving struggling nations an opportunity to start anew.
Today we have handed over this petition to Minister Lamola and the G20 presidents. There are three elements in this petition. The first one is the debt cancellation. The second one is to make sure that there are systems in place to make sure that we don't have a recurrence of debt after there's a debt cancellation. So this includes making sure that there's a debt framework under United Nations to prevent this from happening again. And we did these three elements as part of implementing the Jubilee. The Jubilee in Leviticus is speaking about debt forgiveness. And for us in the current context, debt forgiveness is a debt forgiveness for poor countries. So these three demands that we have made, they fall within that framework of we need to ask for debt forgiveness. Jubilee Year, there should be freedom for the countries from the debt burden.
Today, I have experienced a very important step taken by the different churches, the community, to present this very important document of petitioning the leaders of the world to really look at the debt cancellation in view especially of the future, that the sins of the forefathers shouldn't really be transferred to the children, so that we have a liberated Africa in the future. This is the petition that we are presenting today. Thank you.
The petition will be shared with the G20 presidency and Nobel laureate Professor Joseph Stiglitz, who leads the Vatican and Columbia University initiative, the Commission on Sovereign Debt, tasked with proposing global reforms for a better financial system. As the world celebrates the Jubilee Year, faith communities remind leaders that true renewal begins with justice and with freeing nations from the chains of debt.